to our 7th Annual International Women's Day Festival at Ohio University. This year marks the 104th anniversary of the International Women's Day, and it's actually originally celebrated on March 8th of every year. And the theme for this year is Empowering Women, Empowering Humanity, Picture It. We'd like to thank the Women's Center, International Student and Faculty Services, and the Office for Global Opportunities, the Multicultural Center, Black Student Cultural Programming Board, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, and our organizing committee for making this festival a reality. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Susanna Diesel, Director of the Women's Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Joannie, and welcome everyone to our 7th International Women's Day Festival at Ohio University. When I came to Ohio in 2007, I had no idea what a wonderful tradition we would start in celebrating International Women's Day annually. I think we started with about 120 people, and we've blossomed into a festival that brings together people from all over our community. Domestics, international, students, faculty, staff, as well as community. This is a wonderful accomplishment, and I'm grateful to everyone who has been working with us over the last 6 weeks to make this festival happen. International Women's Day is now in its 105th year, and it provides us with an opportunity to celebrate the past, present, and future accomplishments of women worldwide. It allows us to renew our commitment to the ongoing struggle for women's rights and liberation here and abroad, and to celebrate the dignity, beauty, and creativity of women and girls. Last Sunday, on March 8th, which is the official International Women's Day, women in all parts of the world came together to celebrate and honor women's progress, or protest the lack thereof. The Women's Center at Ohio University is proud to be part of this international celebration that began in 1911 when socialist activist and fellow German Clara Zetkin organized German and European women to stand up and press for their rights as workers, citizens, and individuals. This year's theme, as Joannie has already pointed out, has been designated by the United Nations as Empowering Women, Empowering Humanity. Picture it. And I think it is particularly relevant for us today. In the words of the United Nations, this year's International Women's Day envisions a world where each woman and girl can exercise her choices, such as participating in politics, getting an education, having an income, and living in societies that are free from violence and discrimination. Certainly some goals worthwhile fighting for. Empowering women has a profound impact on our world. Countries with more gender equality have better economic growth. Peace agreements that include women are more durable. And parliaments with more women enact more legislation on key social issues such as health, education, anti-discrimination, and child support. Speaking out for women's liberation empowers all of us. For, as Virginia Woolf stated almost 100 years ago, as a woman, I have no country. As a woman, I want no country. As a woman, my country is the whole world. It is in this spirit that we, the women of Ohio University in Athens, are coming together today to show the rest of the world our strengths, our heritage, our beauty, and our commitment to social justice for women and everyone through performance, scholarship, and living by example. While we celebrate women's accomplishments and creativity today, we know that despite all of the positive changes that have occurred for women over the last century, women's lives continue to be diminished by legal discrimination, interpersonal and other acts of violence, sexual violence most prominent amongst them, political disenfranchisement, educational disadvantaging, and persistent poverty. We need to work on ensuring that women become full and equal participants in matters both public and private, that women become agents in their personal lives and full citizens with all political and human rights, so that social, political, and economic progress can be made and the promise of democracy be extended to everyone. For us at the Ohio University Women's Center, International Women's Day is an opportunity to commit ourselves to promote awareness, education, and advocacy about women, gender, diversity, and feminism on our campus and beyond. Here at Ohio University, we are blessed to have an incredibly rich and diverse and talented student body, and International Women's Day is the perfect day to showcase those talents. As in years past, we have brought together a diverse group of women to model for us aspects of womanhood from all over the world, to shine a light on their accomplishments and to raise awareness about the struggle that still lies ahead. I'm grateful to each and every one who has worked throughout the quarter, throughout the semester really, and to make this event a success. And I look forward to celebrating next year's 105th anniversary of International Women's Day with you next year. Before we go on, I want to introduce our MC for the afternoon, Johnny Williams. Johnny Williams is a senior English and Spanish double major and a longtime Women's Center volunteer, and a repeat, and Johnny has performed at least at 2 International Women's Days for us. She's a member of the Spanish Club and a peer mentor for learning communities and in the Office of Multicultural Student Access and Retention and the Links program. And she's a member of the African Dance Group and participates in the OU African Ensemble. It's going to be a sad day when Johnny graduates from Ohio University, and you will be severely missed, but I know that you will bring a beautiful light to whatever community you go, and people will embrace you just as we have embraced you here, and thank you so much for hosting this afternoon.
Dr. Dietzel, for such kind words. I'm very happy and honored to be here for this evening, for the celebration of International Women globally. So I'm so happy to be here. Our first performance will be Lois Willie on a presentation on Virginia Gildersleeve. Lois Willie is an Athens area resident who has been active in our community in the Athens City and Tri-County school boards. Additionally, she has visited the United Nations headquarters in New York City under every Secretary General beginning in 1949. Please welcome Lois Willie.
Thank you for those kind words. Are we on? I can hear myself. It's going out. Oh, okay. Now are we on? Yeah. Okay. I want to explain a couple of things about my appearance before I start talking about Virginia Gildersleeve, Dr. Virginia Gildersleeve, who was the dean at Barnard College in Columbia University, New York City. I want to point out the picture on my left here, which I hope you can see. This is usually in the Women's Center, but it shows Dean Irma Voigt, the rather large lady all the way on the left. People over here won't be able to see it, but you can notice it later. And she's having tea with a bunch of girls. She was Dean of Women at Ohio University for many, many years, starting in 1913. She had already passed on by the time I arrived, because that was only 50 years ago, of course. But I'm going to be making a connection between Irma Boyd and Virginia Gildersleeve in a minute. Then about my own, you notice I'm wearing a hat, okay? Virginia Gildersleeve had the most amazing kinds of hats. I have here her book called Any Good Crusade. And this book is her autobiography. At least it sums up the many, many things she did in her life. And the pictures in it, which show her, you know, out in public, show her with these fantastic hats with feathers on them. And I hope that you can notice that my hat has feathers too. My hat has these little tiny wings. I wore this hat on my wedding day, which was over 60 years ago. And so I brought it out for this special occasion. Now, I am also wearing a special t-shirt. I am infamous for wearing t-shirts. I have about 100, I would say, and usually I can find something that will fit the occasion. This particular one, I'm looking right now at my dear friend Judy Deso, who gave this to me about 20 years ago. And it has a picture of another Ohio University woman who was on the faculty, namely Dr. Edith Ray, who for many years was the chair of the English department at Ohio University. The American Association of University Women has a scholarship for an Athens County girl, and that scholarship is named for Edith Ray. In fact, on the back it says, ask me about the AAUW scholarship. And we have a table over there with some information about AAUW. Now, the reason for that is that Virginia Gildersleeve was one of the founding, well, she became president later on. She was one of the founding members of the International Federation of University Women. And that was founded in 1920. So Virginia Gildersleeve worked also with AAUW, which was founded the same year in 1920, by bringing together Southern women and Northern women graduates of universities. So there is that connection there. In addition, in our library, at Alden Library, up on the 5th floor, in the archives room, there is a special exhibit this year marking the 200th anniversary of the first commencement at Ohio University, because that was in 1815. And how many graduates were there? Does anyone know? Two graduates. And we were founded in 1804, so there was a time before they had anyone who was able to graduate at all. But one reason I'm pointing that out in particular is that there is a nice picture of Dean Boyd, and there are pictures of the 1 week of observance that they put on in 1915 of pageants celebrating the first commencement at Ohio University. So I hope that a number of you will stop by 5th floor of Alden Library and see that wonderful exhibit. Well, I better get on to Virginia Gildersleeve, hadn't I? Because I'm taking a lot of time here. But why is she remembered? Well, in addition to being the dean at Barnard College and co-founder of the International Federation of University Women, she was the only woman delegate on the United States delegation that went to San Francisco in the spring of 1945 to write the Charter of the United Nations. There were 7 members of the delegation altogether, and Dean Gildersleeve was chosen to be the only woman member of the U.S. delegation. And actually, there weren't too many full women members at that conference which had 48 countries that were there to write the Charter of the United Nations in the spring of 1945. I think there were a total of like 6 or 7 full women delegates from all of those 48 countries that were writing the Charter. Now, she is remembered particularly for her work on the preamble of the United Nations, which begins, as I think most of you have read sometime or other, "We the peoples of the United Nations," and then goes on to explain the reasons for it. "We the peoples of the United Nations." Actually, "We the peoples" was something that was particularly promoted by one of the other members of the delegation from the U.S., and that was Congressman Bloom from New York City, because he thought, our Constitution, our preamble begins with "We the people of the United States," right? Well, you might think, hey, the U.S. should have its own way on everything, but that's not the case, of course. And General Smuts from South Africa had sent along to the delegation's meeting in San Francisco a very long preamble of something like 250 words, which seems like a little bit much, okay? Well, Virginia Gildersleeve was one of the people who sort of helped get that down to about 70 words. And I'm not going to recite it for you because, for one thing, I don't know it by heart. But it was important, too, she found. See, they weren't too sure what they should call their group. But President Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, had called the Allied group, which fought against Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, and Imperial Japan, had called it the United Nations always. And just before the group gathered in San Francisco in 1945, at the end of April, President Franklin Roosevelt had died. This was a fantastic experience for people my age. I was in 8th grade at the time. And all of a sudden, one day, April 12th, it was, 1945, we had this special convocation, and they told us that President Roosevelt had died. People couldn't believe it. I had never known any other president, because, of course, he was the only one who was ever elected to 4 terms in office. But he had always called the Allied group the United Nations. And so when they were kind of arguing about what they were going to say in the preamble, and they were suggesting things like the League of Nations after World War I, an association and so forth, she made a little speech. And she said she thought that it would be really nice to remember that President Roosevelt had called it the United Nations. And so it was. We the peoples of the United Nations. So, she was quite a gal, as you might imagine. She had graduated from Barnard herself in 1899. 1899, she was a member of the graduating class there. And then later she taught at Barnard, and in 1911 she became Dean of Barnard College. They didn't have to say Dean of Women because Barnard College was a women's college. Perhaps it still is today, although I imagine that it's more co-ed now than it was then. And so here's another connection with Irma Voigt. Irma came here in 1913, and that was just 2 years after Virginia Gildersleeve became dean at Barnard. So they were really contemporaries, okay? And I found something very interesting when I went over to the archives at OU. I was looking through Dean Voigt's papers, and one of the things that they have over there are a folder of famous autographs, okay, letters from people who had written sometime or other to Dean Voigt. And So I thought, well, maybe Virginia Gildersleeve wrote sometime or other to Dean Boyd. And sure enough, I found that letter. Here it is. The Xerox of it, of course. But I think it's interesting here. Actually, she's declining an invitation, but she says something special at the end, which tells you more about Dean Boyd and how impressive a woman she was and how important in her day. And this letter was sent on March 11th, 1935. In other words, 80 years ago this year. 80 years ago, just a couple of days ago, really. This letter was sent by Virginia Gildersleeve from the office of the Dean at Barnard College to Irma Boyd, and it's addressed to President, National Association of Deans of Women. And at the very end, she says, with congratulations on your election as president and best wishes for a happy administration, I am sincerely yours, Virginia C. Gildersleeve. So in other words, that was the year 1935, 80 years ago, that Dean Boyd became the national president of the National Association of Deans of Women. And I think that's an important thing to know about her and about her long service at Ohio University. You'll see that there are some other things on display at the exhibit table over there, which has some more information about the American Association of University Women, a couple of brochures from the League of Women Voters, and some pictures of our people from our local branch of AAUW. So, what else should I say about Virginia Gildersleeve? Oh, she went on a special mission to Japan in 1946. She was a member of the education mission that went at the request of General MacArthur to help the Japanese revise their education system, which of course they were going to have to do since they lost the war. And she was studying for 5 years. You know, you might say, well, why the heck did they? Not only did she have these international connections like the International Federation of University Women, but for 5 years she had been with a study group in New York City that was talking about what should be in a charter or governing, you know, the governing part of the new group that would be brought together following World War II in order to try to make sure that there was peace. Peace in our time. We know there are plenty of wars, but peace in our time. Partly the reason that we have it is that we have had the United Nations now this year for exactly 70 years. 70 years. In October 24th is United Nations Day. That was the day that 49 nations signed the Charter of the United Nations, which had been developed by Dean Gildersleeve and people from 48 countries. So remember United Nations Day, October 24th. Think of Dean Gildersleeve if you will. Thank you.
Amy Miller is a senior here at Ohio University. She is currently the president of the OU Taekwondo Club and was president of OU Mixed Martial Arts for 2 years. She is an advocate for women's safety, knowledge of self-defense, and smart decision-making to best be prepared in today's world. Please welcome Amy Miller. Up next, we have Emma Nappy. She'll be doing a presentation about eating disorders.
For my time. So I just wanted to share real quick a little bit about my story and then go into the whole theme about empowering women, which I think is probably my favorite theme in the past 3 years that we've had here. So I was diagnosed with an eating disorder throughout college, and it's something that I've dealt with for 4 years. And there were 2 really low points that I had, which would have been spring quarter my freshman year, and I'm getting ready to graduate, and over the summer. And if you don't know anything about eating disorders in regards to why it happens or triggers of it, one of the things is that when you have a lack of control in one area of your life, you transfer that lack of control to having control over whether it be food, working out, your body image, those sorts of things. So as you can imagine, I was studying abroad over the summer, and when you are across the world for 9 weeks with a 6-hour time difference, a little bit is out of control. So I was away from my family, my friends, everyone really close to me. All the nutrition labels on foods weren't in English, and there wasn't a normal gym there. Everything was different, so a lot was out of my control. So that was the most recent time where things were really hard, and I mean extremely difficult, and I felt like there was no way out of this pit in my life. I remember sitting on the bathroom floor, crying pretty much, thinking, okay, I've overcome this once, but this is really difficult. How can I do this again? I'm away from everyone who's helped me before. What am I going to do? I just want to go home. And, it was a really tough period. So when I did get home after 9 weeks of being abroad, I worked towards overcoming it. Round 2, I'm like, hey, I've done this once before. I should be able to do it again, right? So there I was, trying to overcome this, and now, how many months later, I've really kind of grown and worked really hard, and it just goes to show nothing's easy, but I think another main point here is that you can't do it alone. So when I was first realizing I was struggling with it, I told my mom and a couple of people close to me, I say I'm open about it now, but at first I wasn't like, hey, I'm going to go tell 20, 50, 100 people that I'm dealing with this. That doesn't seem realistic. And it was very difficult, and I'm not going to lie to you and stand up here and say that it was something that was easy for me. It wasn't, like I was proud to say, hey, I'm dealing with an eating disorder, Mom, just wanted to give you a heads up. It was a very difficult thing and a lot of tears on both ends. It was even harder to tell my dad, so it was, very difficult, and, it might seem very hard at the time if you're struggling out there right now, or if you know someone who's dealing with it. So my advice to you, whether you're on either sides of the situation, is it's terrifying, but it's almost extremely necessary, and to also be understanding if you're on the flip side of the situation. So just to be understanding and supportive of someone else, because if you don't have that mindset and you aren't struggling, it's hard to think, why don't you just get over it? Why can't you just turn it off? If I wouldn't want to deal with this, it's not like I chose this and was like, hey, this is fun. There's no on and off switch, because if there was, trust me, I would turn it off. So just, come out to someone, whether it be a parent, a friend, a counselor, me for all that matters. And like I said, I have a blog. I've had several people come and talk to me, and I'm always here to be a support system. So just making sure that you open up, because that's kind of your first gateway to getting better. If I didn't do that, I could promise you I'd probably be in some recovery center or a hospital and not be graduating in 7 weeks. So that's my advice to you. And then on the other hand, like I said, to everyone else, just being understanding and supportive. And that's kind of where the whole empowering thing comes in. And I was really excited about that, and I'm good on time, just FYI. I think in today's society, it's extremely easy to tear other people down and compare yourself to other people to make yourself feel better. I know I'm guilty of doing that, and it's very easy to look at someone and judge them based on what they're wearing, what they're saying, something they're doing, and that's not fair to you, and that's not fair to the other people around you. Something I thought about, is why is it so easy for us to look at someone walking down the street or sitting next to us, or someone in class giving a presentation maybe, and think a certain way about them, especially if you have no idea who they are or anything about their life. So you say, wow, those pants look terrible on her, rather than looking and thinking, wow, there's something really great about this person, there's something really beautiful about this person. And I randomly compliment people all the time. Cashier at Kohl's, I'll say something, and someone with me is like, why did you do that? Why are you talking to strangers? And you really don't understand how something like that might make someone feel. If you've ever had that happen to yourself, someone else say something to you, or you really don't know how much you say can affect someone, especially if it's negative. But think of how it could affect someone if you said something positive. That could change a lot in how you feel about yourself, because it's empowering to yourself to say, wow, I did something good. I'm making someone else feel better about themselves. And someone on the other end is going to feel the same way, like, wow, that makes me feel really good about myself. And I think that's really important in today's society, for us to build each other up and support each other, because most of us in my generation, we're the future of this country, of this world. And I think this is a great event to really learn and appreciate all of the diversity in the world and the people around you, and to learn to appreciate that. So I just want to challenge everyone in here, men and women, so not just girls, all you boys out there, I challenge you to really kind of look around at the people around you right now, look around at the people when you're walking down Court Street or wherever you're going to be, and really look for the positives in someone, look for the uniqueness in that person, and don't tear them down. If you catch yourself starting to judge someone, change that mindset and say, okay, 1, why am I doing this? 2, it's not making me a better person. 3, it's not making them feel better about themselves, even if they don't even hear what you're saying. So that's my challenge to you, is to just try to change that mindset and empower the other people around you, and it's going to empower yourself, because that's going to be what builds our society up and help us be successful and overcome challenges, because there's a great amount in all of our lives personally and as a society. So I just want to kind of spread the awareness about eating disorders, because if you didn't know, 30 million people in America are dealing with them, 20 million women and 10 million men, yes, men. So, you're not alone, you're not going through something alone. I promise you, whether it be an eating disorder, body image issues, any sort of other addiction, anything, there's someone there willing to listen and willing to help out. And when you see someone else, don't judge them because you don't know what they're going through. When I walked up on stage, you probably didn't think, wow, she had an eating disorder. You never know. You never know what someone's going through. So really change that mindset from negative and judgment to positive and supporting other people. And I think that can really do a lot of good in this world. So I am perfect on time and ahead of 8 minutes. So I'll stop there. And thank you all for listening to me and letting me present the last 3 years. It's been a joy, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Up next, we have Angelina Sakorowska. She'll be reading poetry by Marina Sadeva. Angelina loves all kinds of art and believes that art alongside love can make our world a better place. She feels honored to share some Russian poetry in both Russian and English languages with the OU community. Please welcome Angelina.
Okay, I have to correct, it's Marina Tsvetaeva. It's a very famous Russian female poet who unfortunately died when she was only 48 years old. She committed a suicide. She had a very hard life, and she, at the time of her life, it was the first half of the last century, she had a husband and she had relations with a female, which is pretty controversial in Russia right now, and you can imagine how controversial it was at that time. So I will read 3 poems of hers, and I will read 2 in English for you and 1 in Russian for you as well. Okay. I know the truth, all other truths out of my sight. There is no cause for us to hold these fights and battles. Just take a look. There's evening. Look, there's night. Why do we fight? Oh, poets, lovers, and commanders. The grass is heavy, and the wind has settled down. And soon the stormy vortex of the stars will stop, and we shall all sleep with our foes below the ground. Though on this earth we kept each other up. Next poem she wrote and dedicated it to a man who later became a husband of her sister. And it's a pretty famous poem in Russian. It's called I Like the Fact. I like the fact that you are not mad about me. I like the fact that I am not mad for you, and that the globe of planet Earth is grounded and will not drift away beneath our shoes. I like the fact that I can laugh here loudly, not play with words, feel unabashed and loose, and never flush with stifling waves above me when we brush sleeves, and not seek an excuse. I like the fact that you don't feel ashamed as you, before my eyes, embrace another. I like the fact that I will not be damned to hell for kissing someone else with other. That you would never use my tender name in vain, that in the silence of the church's towers, we'll never get to hear the sweet refrain of Hallelujah sung somewhere above us. With both my heart and hand, I thank you proudly for everything. Although you hardly knew you loved me so, and for my sleeping soundly, and for the lack of twilight rendezvous. No moonlit walks with you to arms around me, no sun above our heads or skies of blue. For never feeling, sadly, mad about me. For me not feeling, sadly, mad for you. And the last poem I would read to you in Russian. And the main translation of the poem would be about going to a loved one who you've not seen for a while, and seeing that person and just being happy, basically. Ты солнце в осенне застишь, все звезды в твоей горсти. Ах, если бы двери настежь, как ветер к тебе войти, и залепетать, и вспыхнуть, и круто потупить взгляд, и всхлипывая, затихнуть, как в детстве, когда простят. Thank you.
Amazing Russian poetry. Up next, we have the Chinese Learners Association. Up next is Aaron Henning. Aaron is a graduate student in Industrial and Systems Engineering. She is from Badung, Indonesia, and is actively involved in part of the international community here at OU, and glad to share a little bit of the Indonesian culture to the community. Please welcome Aaron.
And back, and you kick, and you're facing that way. So it's easy, right? Yeah? Okay, one more time. 2 steps to the right, 2 steps to the left, 2 steps to the back, and lean back, forward, and back, and step. So it's pretty much similar to the electric slide, but I'm going to make it more traditional. One more time, and then we can start the music. 2 steps to the right, 2 steps to the left, and back 2 times, lean back, forward, and back, and kick. So if I can ask the technician to play the music for me, okay. So it's called Pocho Pocho, and it's from Sumatra. Oh no, sorry, it's from Sulawesi. It's one of the 5 islands that we have. And we can ask the Indonesian friends I have to come join us. Come on. Okay, so let's loosen up. Okay. So if you're hearing the music, you can feel it, right? Okay, let's start. 1, 2, 2, and back 2 times, and lead, and stop. Again, 2, 1, 3, 4, back 2 times, and lead, 1, and stop. 2 times.
that Mayor Paul Weil is here, and I wanted to acknowledge his support of International Women's Day for the last 7 years. I also want to thank Lois Whaley, who always helps me to work with the mayor on getting our International Women's Day proclamation. So if the mayor is indeed here, why don't you step forward, because we have a little certificate to give to you. Okay, I'm going to hand this over to you, but I want to read out to everyone the proclamation. The title of Honorary Feminist is conferred upon Mayor Paul Weil in recognition of his contributions made to the Athens, Ohio feminist community and the Ohio University Women's Center International Women's Day Festival on this day of March 15th, 2015. So thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm kind of honored. I didn't expect this. I was kind of hiding out in the back, but it's hard to do that when you're mayor. My girlfriend of many years is over there. She's very independent and shows me, actually, she's not making a big thing out of it. But she's always been a guidance for me, as well as sets me in my place quite well. And again, thank you. And again, proclamation, you can see us up there. And have a good day.
And I wanted to acknowledge one more participant and visitor of the International Women's Day Festival today, and that is Dr. L.J. Edmonds, who is our Vice Provost for Global Opportunities. We had, bravo. We had the opportunity to listen to LJ's strategic plan for the Office for Global Opportunities, and we are looking forward to all of the things that are in store for us internationally and globally here at Ohio University. And we hope that the International Women's Day Festival will continue to thrive with you and be part of all of the efforts that you do. So thank you so much.
I have to actually this Carter Greg told me that Carter has some display. Oh really? They good? Nice Carter. They're doing it now. It's like
So if you guys figure out what the attitude is.
invited me. Oh, I think I'm gonna try it. You can go all the way up to the back. Anyway, so I just worked there's a blog on finding old photographs. I had some.
No, I should have gone. Like a bachelor.
Now when I was a student kid, I started drawing because his name is Bradley Jones. Really old, his sister has cancer. You know, so some of the music brought I have a lot of pictures. Venus Godson did your I took 2 bags of flowers. Venus Godson, what are we doing? And I'm gonna do that. So I called the scheduling desk. I just was calling to kind of make sure I had the right date. You can go back in these lines if anybody wants. They changed the dates, not the dates, they changed the time on my. And they said, oh, we got all screwed up with changing the electronic records. So it was our schedule. They said, oh, they call them the day before. I think that I used this is what I did. Yeah, I told my kids, I said, give me something. I put it on the line because I don't want to do stuff. I said, can I have your bingo wrong? Let's see. Tiny t-shirt.